In the last section, we finished up with step number 3, which was to make sure that our component would show up on the device. The last thing we must make sure that we resolve is that we handle the declaration of this variable text. So remember, the important thing here to remember about every single JavaScript file that we're going to create throughout this course is that there are no global variables that we can reference. There's no like magic code that is provided to us. So this text right here is an undefined variable, and if we executed this code, it would throw an error. We have to always make sure that every variable we reference is automatically defined for us. So this text tag right here is a primitive element that is provided to us by the React Native library. So to get access to be able to use this text tag, we must import it from the React Native library. To do so, we're going to use a technique called import destructuring. Okay, that's the name of this technique here. We're going to write out the code for it, and then we'll talk about exactly what it does. I'm going to delete React Native right there, and replace it with one opening and closing curly brace, and inside this, I'll write out just text. You'll notice that the instant I do that, the error message goes away from this line right here. So text is now defined. What this line means right here is it means to say, when you import the React Native library, I don't actually want access to the whole library, I just want access to the text property out of that library. So this really depends on pretty intricate or detailed knowledge of what different properties or objects the React Native library contains. And you'll learn about all the different objects that it contains over time. So this one that we've used right here so far is the text tag. Another property in the library is one that we've already used down here, the app registry. So notice that when I replaced the React Native reference up here, all of a sudden now this is giving us an error message saying, well, now React Native isn't defined. So to solve this, we will also import the app registry function from React Native as well. So after text, we'll place a comma and then reference app registry. And then finally at the bottom, because we're not making reference to React Native anymore, I'm going to delete the React Native dot, like so. Cool, so now we've got we are importing text and app registry from the React Native library. We are using the text tag inside of our component, and we are using the app registry component at the very bottom of our file here to render our component to the device. The last thing I want to do is you might notice that our component, we're getting a little bit of a complaint here from JSX about how the error message says unexpected block statement surrounding arrow body. So like I mentioned just a minute ago, if we are referencing just a single element, or if we've got just a single return value from a fat arrow function, we can omit any return statement and the curly braces. And so that's what this error message here is about. ESLint is saying, hey, all you're doing with this fat arrow function is returning some variable or returning some object. So for stylistic concerns, I recommend you drop the return statement and you drop the curly braces as well. We're going to see this error message a lot throughout this course. It's totally up to you whether or not you want to do the refactor or not. This is not an error. It is really just something that ESLint is saying, your code would look a little bit better if you did it this way. So again, I leave it up to you whether or not you want to do this or not. Just to give you an example, the refactoring, I think I will go ahead and refactor it. So to get the error to go away, I would delete the curly brace up here. I would delete the return statement right here and put the parenthesis up on the line above it. I'll delete the curly brace at the bottom and then indent everything like so. So now I'm just left with const app, fat arrow function, and this will return this block of JSX right here. Again, totally up to you either way. I'll go both fashions throughout the course. Okay, so we've now got a full-blown React Native program ready to run. So if you recall, we spoke much earlier about how to run a React Native app in an earlier section, and the methodology is different depending on what platform you're on, either OS X or Windows. If you don't recall how to run the simulator with Windows, then you'll want to go back a couple videos and review that process. Otherwise, if you're using iOS, at the command line inside of our project directory, we will run React Native run iOS like so, and this will start up our iOS simulator and launch the app. Now I've already got the simulator running right here, so I'm just going to refresh it, And okay, this is our app now, as ugly as it looks. You'll notice that up on the very top left, I've got the text, some text. So it looks like it's up there, but it's definitely overriding the status bar. So this is, hey, like our content is showing up. It looks like our component is being rendered, but it definitely does not look very good at all. So let's figure out how to fix this in the next section.